Oh, I my car automatically launched the podcast where Jason's microphone wasn't working in the beginning. And that was
Yeah,
such a good catch that you caught that because it was like when it first came, it was not good. Like in the car, it was really echoey. So it's good
yeah,
that you caught that, or that would have been the whole episode.
yeah. I know. I think, I learned from Jason early on, you could have the world's best video, but you will not have views because people cut out quick
Right.
when it comes to audio.
Audio. Yeah, people have a lower tolerance for audio than they do the video. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, it was good.
And I do, and you know what? I never thought about it, but just recently I was watching a video somewhere, and guess what? I couldn't take it. The audio was horrible, so I clicked
Hmm.
out. And I went, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." So I'm always like aware of it when we're recording, or I try to be.
Yeah, it's very important. Something that you never know or think about before you got into that world. It's
Yeah.
important.
Well, welcome everybody to episode. What is it? 201.
201. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Is
last week. Yeah, it was
is
200.
is Jason joining us on this one or
I don't think so.
oh okay.
Nicole's out of town, and
Oh
he's got
okay.
the boys to wrangle. You
Oh,
know,
okay. Gotcha. Okay, I wasn't
and
sure.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
his hands are full with those two. It'll just be a few more years.
Yeah, it gets easier.
Yeah, yeah,
It
for
gets
sure,
easier.
for sure. Huh. So what have you been up to?
Today's been a reset day. I've been getting off from the job we were working on earlier this week. What is it? It's Tuesday earlier this week. It's been a long week. It's Tuesday. Yesterday was a
Wow.
marathon day. I'm doing double the jobs this week
Oh,
because of
oh,
SplinterCon. So normally I don't start a project on Monday. We started last Thursday. We finished it yesterday, and we're going straight to another one tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So today was get the van back, get reset, change for a different type of work, and
yeah.
um, it's taken the whole day to get ready for that. And I have a little
Huh.
issue with my battery powered Capex. It's not the tool, it's me, the operator. I broke it. And I was trying to find a workaround. The little arm that makes the guard go up and down, the
Yes.
saw guard.
Yep.
I did something where it doesn't want to raise up and back. So I disconnected the little arm on the back
Okay.
so that I could make it be able to raise up and down. So
Yeah.
there's something inside of
Okay.
it that I've done.
Okay. So that little arm, it rides. I believe I'm talking what you're talking about. Sometimes it's somebody says something to me and I talk about something different, but this is on the larger one as well. You have a hesitation pulling the head down.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
on that arm, if you feel on the side of it, because I know you use it a lot, there's a little
Uh,
burr that
uh-huh.
gets raised, and where it goes down or meets the head, there's a little bushing. I put a little
Hmm.
oil in a bushing, I take a file and I remove that burr, and it should be fine.
Okay, I'll have to look at that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because
it
that's
was.
when I see that and I go and I see somebody's Capex and I get the hesitation.
Hmm.
They say, "Hey, get a little metal file." And I go, "Yep." Or I take a piece of sandpaper.
Hmm. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'm getting set up for tomorrow. I'll be using a lot on site and been pre-cutting aluminum channel.
That's by the
That's
way,
been a big.
that's $20 you owe me at SplinterCon.
Oh yeah. I'll be sure to. I also had somebody reach out, a wood shop in our town, sent a SOS message yesterday and said that their Domino XL, they broke it and they were trying to do a project and they were going to have to send it off. And they're like, "Is there any way we can borrow
Mm.
your?" And I was like, "Yes." And they were like, "Oh, thank." They were freaking out. And I went over and dropped it off at their shop today, and they said that the where the bit screws in, a pin fell out of it like while it was running. He said that just a metal pin fell out of the place where you screw in the bit. And I was like, he goes, "You ever heard of that before?" I'm like, "No," but I was like, "I'm
Well,
sure they can fix it." He goes, "Maybe it's because we left it running for 20 minutes straight." I'm like, "No, it's not that. You should be able
well,
to you should be able to let it run though. You shouldn't it
yeah,
shouldn't fall apart."
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Does that unit have a lot of use on it?
I'm sure it is. Yeah, they've been using
Yeah.
it for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Get them to
Yeah.
send it right in.
I
And
told him to
that's
leave the
not
fence
good
on.
when parts fall
I
out of
know.
the machine.
He said it started making a noise and then they looked at it and this pin fell out of the center. And I was like, yeah, I've not heard of that. But I told him just to send the domino in without the fence. I was like, don't even bother, just send just the unit part. So that, yeah,
Oh,
we've had some.
so what was really cool is this is a great topic. Sometimes, and we always talk about this, right? We know things that are just basic instinct in what we do nowadays. That when somebody asks you questions, I'm like, really? Like I'm like a deer in the headlights. And people were asking me questions about certain things. So I just taught at Mark Adams with Travis this past weekend, and, and people would ask me a question. I'd go, and I have to not laugh because I would ask how many other people have in this situation with the tool, and two or three people raise their hands. I go, see, Travis, you know that answer, but it's not a common knowledge answer. He goes, what? And it was really cool. And he answered a lot of questions. I'd go, hey, what do you think, Travis? And he'd answer the question. Then he'd
Mhm.
look over at me and go, yes, that's right, Travis. he is
You know,
he has come along so well. He's phenomenal. He's I'll say it because he's probably listening. He's also a patron. I go, Travis, you're my favorite Festool employee.
yeah, he gets to hear some of the things that people, unless you watch a Festool live or watch things that you do like a Sedge Tool video on. I
Yeah.
just was on the phone 30 minutes ago with one of my friends. It's like a hobbyist professional wood. He has a lot of Festool. And I told him, I was like, I said, when you get a chance, I said, if you could watch Festool lives and Sedge Tool about specific tools you own, I said, you will learn something on every tool that you would never learn any other way. You will pick up on stuff. And I said, I try to make it a point to watch on everything that's on a tools I own because they're just things you will never know.
Yeah.
There's even things that you learn when you get the tool and then you forget as you start
Hmm.
using it. The mark on the side of the track saw. You're always trying
Yep.
to guess where the blade comes in and it's marked there. That's
Yeah.
something you could read before you start using it. And you're like, whatever. But when you start using it, you're like, oh, that's really handy.
Yes.
Things like that. So it's good to revisit those videos even.
So, Ronnie, thank you so much. Not for calling out all that, but thank you because guess what? That's my goal. I
Yeah, it's
have
awesome.
whether it's and that's what my goal was in training.
Hmm.
But my goal started with, of course, Festool Sedge, which morphed into Sedge Tool Tips. That's kind of like a basic owner's manual, quick tips with Instagram, and then it really kicked tenfold, thousandfold because I could slow down a little. People won't agree. I slow down on
Hmm.
Festool Live, but the entire training program is now a killer reference for people.
It
And
is.
I always told Chris, make sure that the name of the tool is in the title so people can scan it.
Hmm.
And I think we're gonna do some more cleaning up, but I think they're gonna leave the live tab alone. And I mean, right before, well, today at work, I was working on this Friday script. I always call it a script, but it's actually an outline. And I go,
Outline, yeah.
What else do I need to know about the plunging jig, the new MB40?" And I
Hmm.
just wrote about 20 quick notes on it. So, and then I go in and I work it out for the next 2 days before we shoot live. It is a pure pleasure. And then this weekend, we taught a Festool Essentials class, which was the original Festool 101 when we did end user and dealer classes at Festool. And there's times where I can't remember everything. Then all of a sudden I
Hmm.
go, okay, hang on. I think it's this. And then all of a sudden I go, no, don't second guess yourself. You know the answer.
Hmm.
But boy, I was up in I was up the weekend before running a demo in a TSV 60, and this guy was hot to buy it. He goes, but I want you to coach me on it. And we grew a small crowd. All of a sudden, I couldn't plunge it. And I went and I started again, and I go, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Let me figure this out. I don't touch this every single day. So I forget. All of a sudden,
Right.
Jeff and Travis looked at me. They started laughing. And Travis pointed to I go, I know that. And I had everybody laughing. So the guy who eventually purchased it, he looked at me, and goes, "You really didn't know?" And I go, "Dude, I'm human." And he started laughing. He goes, "That's why I watch Festool Lives." He goes, "It's
Yeah.
amazing what you remember." I go, "Dude, did you ever see Chris zoom in on the table? I have so many
Mhm.
notes written on the MFTs. I
Right.
have to sand them every week."
And also you're using all the track saws, which I do as well. And it's kind of hard to remember. Like whenever I do a depth, when I'm going to HKC to the TS60 different ones, when I reach up to set my depth, sometimes I'll grab the wrong location because I'm used to the other saw that I was using. They're
Mhm.
slightly different. And it's kind of hard sometimes to remember. And I'm sure the TSV60 is the one you probably use the least amount.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that's understandable. But I think the videos are great for someone who's deciding whether or not they want to buy the tool. And
Hmm.
they're then once you're using, it's good to go back and watch it again as a
Yes.
user, and you'll get a
Yes.
lot more out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with any training class. I think if you have a little experience with it first, you're going to
Yeah.
get a lot more out of the training than somebody
Yeah.
who's totally new to it.
I had a physician from Indianapolis area, Carmel. I consider him a friend. His name's David, and I go, "You're back again?" And he said, "Yes, Sedge, I am." And I go, he goes, "Hey, I can't remember everything." So he pulled me aside at lunch. He goes, Sedge, this is my third time in this class." I went, "What?" He goes, "Think about it. I'm a doctor." He goes, "That's my focus. I love what I do. I'm passionate about, medicine." He goes, "But my woodworking, I don't do all the time. I need you to refresh me." I went,
Yeah.
"Oh." He goes, "That's why I love the Festool Live series." And
Yeah.
I could tell you several, we had 13 people in class, and several of them came up to me and said, "Dude, anytime I get ready to do a big project with Domino, I watch a couple of Sedge Tool Domino videos and I'm back up to
Mhm.
speed." Because we don't do it full time like you. We're not
Right.
tradespeople,
Hmm.
And I'm like,
It
I get it. I get it.
yeah, you definitely can get out of the motion of using a tool when you haven't used it in a while. This was
Yeah.
it. You teach the essentials class at the Mark Adams School.
Yep.
Is that where?
Once
Yeah.
once a year. It's usually in September, about mid-month.
How
And
many people did you have in your class?
we had 13 this weekend,
13.
and I've had upwards of 16, but it's usually between like Tyler said, he goes, "Said you always have over 10, in a weekend class." There was a couple other really killer classes going there. Michael Fortune was finishing up the week. He had about 15 people in there, but it was also a continuation of the week class. He had to cancel a couple times for medical issues this past summer, but he's back. He's coming back up to speed. And then there was this guy I'd never met before. He's taught a few years there, but he was using my long guide rails as a straight edge, cutting leather.
Uh,
And they all walked out, the week long class walked out with this beautiful leather, I call it a leather gym bag, but it was a leather bag. And, you could do woodworking, glass, welding. Um, his focus, of course, is woodworking. That's all how it's always been. But Annette was in there
yeah.
from 513. So I got
Yeah.
a chance to hang with her for a couple minutes.
Okay.
It was, and
She's so nice.
she stayed the weekend and she made another small little leather satchel.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's just Travis said this does have a good vibe. It was his first time there. And he goes, "It has such a good vibe." And I go, "Dude, you are in woodworking heaven. I truly believe uh, the best woodworking school on the globe, on the planet. It's just, you know, it's not accredited really. He has a master's program and stuff, but it's not like some of these other schools that, are linked to a college,
Hmm. What
you
is his
know.
background? What was before the school?
Dude, he was the biggest cabinet maker in all of Indiana. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
I think he took some time off after he sold it all. And I think he was consulting. He did some consulting with Franklin International, Tight Bond, and I think for Micah as well, if I remember him telling me correctly. And
Hmm.
he's just such a great place. It was good. I just thought this episode is not brought to you by Mark Adams School of Woodworking. It's actually brought to you by Grit Automation. They are a premier sponsor. How was that for a segue?
That's perfect segue.
To
Yes.
SplinterCon.
Con, con,
Con. Con.
con. Yes.
Cool.
The good old automated blast gates and more.
Yeah. And more.
And
Hey,
more.
and more. Hey,
Wi-Fi.
you sent that picture of that. How big was that deck you were doing? That screen
um
enclosure?
it was 20 out, which is farther than Morse because it had that they built it, they framed it out where they could do 20 feet out. That's rare. And then it was about the big area was 24 and it kept going for another 15 feet. It was pretty good size, pretty good size project. We started it last Thursday.
Hmm.
That project and the one we're starting tomorrow are two that we want to get done before SplinterCon next week. And so we're hitting it a little harder than we normally are. Sometimes you look forward to an event. I'm looking forward to it for two reasons. One, I'm looking forward to SplinterCon. The second one is we done with the two biggest projects that we have remaining for really the year.
Oh,
After
cool.
I finish these two, I've got a lot of things that projects that we want to get on our own plate before it gets too cold. We also need to continue to going full speed on the boat. We've got a lot of things, but this job that we were on last Thursday, Cameron and I, we figure it out down to the close to about an hour. We know what we're doing every hour and how where we want to be. Thursday was awesome. We got to exactly where we wanted to be. We stopped at 3 o'clock. We were right there. We show up on Friday morning. Weather's perfect. I get there, go around the house. There's four guys working in our
Hmm.
space. This is a new construction house, but the homeowners just moved in. So, but I never talked to them, by the way, the whole 3 days I was there. Big enough house, I never even saw them. And they were home.
It was a
But
it was a new build, right?
yes, new build.
Oh,
I'd say it's like $2 million house, close to it.
wow.
And I go around, and these four guys are set up. They got there before I did. They're using our sawhorses.
What?
Um, They've got the ladders out. They've got the tools we left, which is not a lot for the weekend. We left them, a little leaned out of the way because there's plenty of out of way spots. They had it all set up and they were cutting 2x10s under the deck. And the homeowners already have like their sectional couch and like rugs and everything out. They're getting treated sawdust wood everywhere between a pool and a patio. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are they doing? Because Cameron and I left it, spotless. We don't, if we're cutting stuff, we try to do it in the grass. We don't, we just
Yeah.
don't do that. And so I'm sitting there looking at him. The guy's like, "What are y'all working on?" I'm like, "We're working where you are." And they're like, "Well, the builder told us to be here today." And I was like, "Well, he knew we were going to be here today." So I went around the house and I called him and he was like, "Oh, this is my fault. I double scheduled. I didn't think about it." He's like, "I'll pull them off later on and put them on something else in the house. We've got some punch list items." But apparently they built the deck, and anyone who builds decks before will appreciate this. They ran three stringers down and they used the Trex boards as the risers and the treads with nothing underneath it. Trex boards aren't structural. And
No kidding.
it's funny because I looked at those stairs the whole day we were working before, and they'd already stained everything dark bronze on the bottom side. I didn't really think about it that there weren't two bys under those treads. But the homeowners noticed apparently when they're going down, it was springy. So he sent
Uh-oh.
the guys in there to put two more stringers. So they put five stringers on there, which I don't even have to look it up. I know that's still not technically correct. You're not supposed to use Trex as structural. So it's just keeping the Trex from spanning more than like a foot, but still not the right way to do it. But this is where I lost it. I looked up and saw after Cameron, the main thing we did the day before was put 2x10s between brick columns all the way around. And it takes time. You've got to trace them with the Pica pencil, bring them back down, and you have to cut them to match the brick. So it looks like you just cut them to length because they have to be like scribed on both sides. They had taken down one of the hardest ones we had up
What?
because they wanted to put a stringer up and they had it laying on the ground. And that's when I went around and called the builder and I was like, they undid work we did the day before. And I was so annoyed by it that I went back down there and the guy was making a mess. And I was like, why are you cutting right there? And he was like, well, we got a broom. We can clean it up. I'm like, yeah, but we keep our work site clean. And I said, the homeowner or the builder is going to think we made this mess. And Cameron starts kicking my foot. He's like, Dad, Dad. He knew when I get to this level, I was like, and I
Yeah.
was just annoyed. I was annoyed. And the guy's like, The guy goes, well, I'm not going to be talked to like I'm a child. I'm like, I'm not talking to you like you're a child. I'm just questioning, why are you working here? Why aren't you cutting right here in the grass next to the stairs where you're working? And so he called the builder and told him that I was talking to him like a child and I was being unprofessional, which
That's bull.
I was not. I was not. So the builder comes around and I realized that these guys, these four guys are like his guys, and he wanted to show like that he was standing up for them. He's like, we need to be civil here. We need to be civil. And I was like, I'm being civil. My son's standing right here. I was like, I'm just questioning why they're doing what they're doing. And he was like, well, we just need to all work together. And I'm like, I was so annoyed. This is my Friday morning. The guys ended up being there until like 1 or 2 o'clock. It was a stairs landing and then stairs. Four guys, okay, half a day to add two stair stringers. They took apart the other section of the stairs, took all the stairs out and everything, and they left for the day at 1 or 2 o'clock. So
What?
they left the homeowners without stairs the entire weekend. If they walked down the landing and forgot, they were going to fall the rest of the way down. Cameron and I came yesterday on Monday, finished the entire job. They were not there the whole day. So they just took apart all the stairs. I'm annoyed by that too. When you start something like that, you've got to finish it. I was glad they weren't there, but I was also annoyed that it was four guys. Have you ever watched four guys work on the same
Yeah,
project like that?
yeah.
What
Two guys
happens?
working, two eyes watching.
Maybe, maybe two guys. I think it
Yeah,
almost was one guy working and the
yeah.
other three were watching.
Government
I was
job.
I was annoyed by that too. Cameron even asked me, he goes, did you notice how they were just all standing? I said, when you get four people on the same job, that is what you're going to get. You
Did
can't
they
have everybody working.
did they drive up in a Maserati?
No, no, but it was,
Ronnie, you want to kick ass.
yeah. Hey, I felt like that. I was annoyed that he even thought that I was,
Yeah, I know.
being, it was affecting me. And I told the builder, I said, when we show up, we know what we're going to do every hour to be able to get out here on time. And I was not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
So I have a new clause that when I'm working with a builder or remodeler, something that's going, I'm going to say is, will anybody else be working in the area when we get there? And I thought about this when I was driving back. I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. And I thought about Adam Fuller sitting there with his
Yes.
700 people on a job
Yes.
site. And he'd be like, yeah, you tell me that. And I'm going to tell you no. But in my case, when we are usually the last ones on site at a finished project, well, what we do, the screens, the deck ceilings, that kind of thing, we should be allowed to be the last person on site. There should be
Yes.
no one in our way, no one.
No.
And so I'm going to start asking for that because that held us
Those
off. That probably cost us at least 3 hours, I would say, on a
and
3 day job.
and correct me if I'm wrong, you should be the last ones because you have that very expensive machinery,
Yes.
high-end screen motors and everything,
Yes.
and that can get easily damaged by some hoo-has on the job site.
Right.
So,
And the ceilings, that dark bronze, if somebody
yeah,
came down there with a concrete saw, they're going to get powder all over that
okay.
ceiling.
Okay, better yet. I've been dying to ask this question. Did you take your sawhorses right away from them, or would you let them use them?
I let them cut the 1 2x10 they worked on forever. And then I just took them out there and put them where we were going to. And I was like, you all figure it out, basically. They were using our
Right.
ladders. We left 2 6-foot ladders and sawhorses. We took everything else with us. They were using all of it. And then they went and got their own ladder out of the truck. They all four of them, I think, rode in the same truck. There was only
What a
one
bunch
truck
of
out there.
bums.
It's frustrating. And I think I'm spoiled. I'm sure I thought about, project managers like Adam Fuller. I talk about because we talk about a lot on Beers with the Boys, and he talks about how many crews he runs there at the same time, and it blows my mind to think
Yep.
about that. I know people do it, but Cameron and I were talking about how much time you lose working on site with other people working around you. You just do. You sometimes have to wait. You were going to go around this way, and the other guy is you go the other way. You can't get your groove when there's other people doing a task in your same work area. You can't get in the motion. They even make noise while you're trying to talk to your other person. They'll start, and it's just a mess.
Hey, I got a great idea. Got a great idea. Adam, I know you're listening. Do you think you could get your clients to let us come in toward the finish of the house to do a podcast
Yeah, there
inside
you
with
go.
you?
There we go. I'm blown away when for people, anyone who doesn't know, he's been working on a project in Maine that's massive, this massive project. And sometimes he shares with us, like he said once he had like three drywall crews there on site at the same time.
Yo,
Like,
yeah.
and I think about the logistics of even the parking logistics of that. Because when you start getting multiple contractors at else, you start having parking issues and you're walking farther back and forth to the van or your truck, and
Oh, yeah.
everything compounds on itself. And especially towards the end, they start stacking more people on. And that's when we're always
And
coming in toward the end, you
and you
know.
get to juggle around the landscaping.
Yes. Oh, speaking of that, we were trying to pack up yesterday. We were finished. The sprinkler system comes on in the zone from where the house to around to the van. So it became a video game of trying to watch the little sprinkler heads going around, like go to the right of this one, step
Oh,
over this
yeah.
one. And those things put out a lot of water. If they even hit you for a second, you're wet, like
You're
soaked.
soaked. Yep.
So we were doing that, and then I figured out I had a couple of buckets, and I just set some buckets on them. That works really well. Just stick a bucket on a sprinkler system. It
Oh,
doesn't spray
really?
anymore. And we had a ladder on top of one of them. Just had it leaning against the house, and it was catching the spray from the other one. But just things like that, and it's just the logistics. Sometimes I think have figured it out in my head exactly how we're going to tackle it the next day, that it even affects me when I show up and there's a granite guy parked in the spot that I was going to park. That
Oh.
right there at that point, I'm parking my van somewhere different now. And now I'm like going, okay, that's not where I was planning on being. I think I get spoiled because I don't like my environment to
Hmm.
change.
Yep.
And especially when there's four guys around there that just mm, didn't
I
like it.
hate it if I used to leave a few things on the job site if the install went for 2, 3, 4 days, and I'd show up and somebody was using my tools without
It's
asking.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not, I don't,
Oh,
I'm really, even sometimes I don't feel like it. I'm really good about taking them, especially for the weekend. I'll leave like a black Stanley case with like the meaningless stuff in there.
yeah.
We did leave that. Usually has like some miscellaneous things, but I always take all my um power tools and even my sustainers that I have all my screws in. I take those too. As tempting as it is to leave them, sometimes I take them. Because also you
So,
never know. On the weekend you might
mhm,
need those. You don't
yeah.
you don't know. So I take them.
Hashtag, if you got anybody listening wants to have some good entertainment because of the iPhone and everybody's got a video camera, you will understand that the best fights ever, job site fights, because people aren't as cool tempered as Ronnie is.
I
Or
take
because I'll tell you what, people will get in your face, and I don't allow that. Uh,
yeah.
I don't allow that, and I always had to stand off sometimes when I saw somebody like a drywall guy, or even the same crew of drywall guys going at
Hmm.
each other. Oh, it's
Oh.
beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I had a guy once when I was working that same thing. I'm usually there when they're doing wrap up, and I had just installed these custom made cabinets that I had just installed them, and I look back and this electrician's come in there. He's cutting the back of my bottom of my cabinet, the underside. He's cutting out this place in there. And I walk up and I'm looking at him. He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to run some under cabinet lighting." He used a multi tool and just cut a square out, a 1 inch square with a multi tool that could have been a drill bit with it's the smallest wire for low voltage wiring. He
Yeah.
just cut a big chunk out of it. And I'm sitting there going, really? Did you really have to do that? He's like, yeah, I don't have any drill bits with me. So annoyed.
Yep.
I don't like people messing with things,
I
but
know.
that's
It's tough.
it's part of it. But yeah, we did get that wrapped up yesterday, which was the goal, which is awesome because it's about a 45-minute away drive. And I'd hate to have like 30 minutes of outstanding things done. So we were able to get that finished.
Do you meet Cam at the job site? Because I know he's coming probably from a
we
different direction.
we've been doing both. So I got off the phone with
Cool.
him just a minute ago. We're gonna meet usually when it's in Lexington, which most of our jobs are, it makes sense for him to meet me there because he
Yeah.
has to go from his place now through the like around Lexington and then come north about 10 minutes. So it saves him about 20 minutes to not meet me here. So I
Cool.
just meet him there and he leaves from
S-
there.
So, how's he coming along? Is he taking lead on anything yet?
we're starting to look at that now more. I think he knows the writing on the wall that he needs to start taking the lead, and things like our deck ceilings that he's been helping with since he was, 6 or 7. He's starting to realize the things that he always just assumed that I'm going to do. He's starting to do more of,
Oh,
even
cool.
on this job. The thing we're challenged with is, I'm more proficient. I've been doing it for 16 years. This on the deck ceiling part, cutting metal. I'm definitely gotten really good at it. And sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to not do that because we'll be here twice as long if he does it. So we're going to start having to do some practicing at the shop, just practice cuts on like gutters, miters, and tabs, things where we're not taking away from our time on site, because I never
Gotcha.
want to take that time. I'm always feel like we're in a hurry, and I'm like, just let me cut it. But I need to get him up to speed on cutting metal, the miters, and I think he'll be pretty much self-sufficient, and I can just be the helper. So as of in through this next year, I want to transition to where I'm the helper and he is the lead guy on these type of projects. So that would be for power screens and deck ceilings, because I like to pass that off to him and
Yeah.
just let him start running with it. And even if he wants to get a helper once he's, ready, and I can just be the third helper even. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. I'd like to
That'd be
concentrate on some other things.
that'd be great. And you're probably coaching them all the behind the scenes, like the business, the financials and everything, right?
Yeah, we always go over the numbers during lunch every day. I always tell him what we have materials and how much the job is. And I've always done that with him. He can guess a job without me even, I just say how much
Really
this one is, and he usually knows within a few thousand what it is. Yeah, he's
wicked
got a
cool.
handle on that. And it's
Good.
nice too because he understands. I think sometimes if you were an employee your whole life and never were the numbers would sound so much more amazing to you than somebody who's owned a business before, and they understand it's not that amazing. Like for example, it's like you have a $10,000 job and you're like, yeah, our materials are 2,500. Somebody be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's not as amazing as it sounds. Like because today, for example, was spent unloading the van and getting ready for the
Yep.
job tomorrow. How much money did I make today? Nothing. you know.
Yeah. Ronnie, it's always the behind the scenes, the prep that nobody
Yeah.
sees. They see you go
Yeah.
in and they see 3 days of work and they go, wow, that's good profit. Oh, let's
Hmm.
think about all the time I'm laying in bed thinking about it.
Yeah. Or picking up
Let's,
materials and
yes.
sourcing them and all of that. I actually told the customer on this project that we're doing tomorrow, it's about 7 fixed screen panels and a door and some other things. I told the homeowner and the builder, I said, I'm going to pre-cut all of the components to this so that we can fly when we get on site. Because I wanted them to know we didn't just show up and do this. We
Yep.
did some things on the back end.
Yes.
So I want to set that expectation. And I also loved, I always tell the builder, the homeowner, how long we're going to be there. And when it's something standardized, it's pretty accurate. I can say
Hmm.
exactly. And we're always dead on. What I don't account for is when I show up and 4 guys are in my space. That can
Yeah,
that can mess me up. But so now
absolutely.
I'm going to say we're there 3 days, as long as nothing gets in our way, as long as you
Yep.
don't have people in our way, we will do that. It's going to be my new little back end thing that I say, do not have people in my space. And I will say that one of the high end remodelers I work with, I became very spoiled because that's something they do without being told. They'll say,
Yep.
when are you going to be there? And I would say next Wednesday or Thursday, we will make sure that no one is in your work area. And I
Yeah,
took
that's
that for
perfect.
granted. I took
Yep.
that for granted, but now I realize most do not do that.
Do you
But
put it
they
in
did that.
writing or is it just verbal?
It'll start being on the contract in verbal also, because people don't
Good.
always read the contract.
Yep.
But I took that for granted that there's things that they do that I've learned. I was lucky enough to be working with them early on. For example, like payment, they put out a check, like they'll within a day or two after you're done with the job. And they said the reason why they do that is because they know that contractors have a choice who they work with, and they want them to choose to work with them first. And that's
Correct.
smart. And then the thing about making sure no one's in your way, what do you need from us? What do you need from? And they used to always ask me that. And to the point where I was like going, gosh, they're kind of a little bit anal about that. Why? I see why they do that now, because I've seen the other side. And I'm also spoiled to how clean they kept the job site. They had somebody every day that would come in at the end of the day, 2 guys, and they would sweep up when it was like new, addition, construction,
Hmm.
like, or they were adding on. they would clean up the job site because not everybody does clean up their, mess. And like, for example, the house that we were just working at, when I was there last time, they hadn't poured the slab yet. The amount of trash that was under there just laying around. And I told Cameron, they're going to pour concrete right over this. All this stuff you see, these cans and everything, this is not going to get picked up. They're going to pour it right over it. The other thing I noticed, you saw the size of that patio. If you look at
Yeah.
that picture, there's not one score line in the concrete underneath that. Not one. Not one. And there's
Wow.
already hairline cracks. And that was poured
What?
maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
What?
Can you imagine what that's going to look like? That's going to look like it just blows me away. And it's
A
a,
couple of cycles, it'll be cracked.
it won't be good. It won't be good at all. So I have to kind of overlook things. I see things and it's like, sometimes it's just like, you won't even say the builder, are you going to do that? But I have to, it's not my area. I just kind of have
Yeah.
to ignore it. You know,
Oh,
it's, in little things like I noticed that when they poured the concrete, it drives me crazy. You ever notice when they brush concrete and they decide to brush it a different direction on one of the
yeah.
squares? It stands out so much. It's so obvious. Just
I
little
know.
things like that. You have to brush the same direction or it looks totally different. Uh, and the brickwork, when we're installing a ceiling, there's things that look fine, especially that Charleston kind of brick. You're like, oh, it looks great. You start putting a straight edge up next to it,
Hmm.
you can see the issues, and we have to deal with those. It's a lot of newer houses are just not built well now. It's better to find a house that's older and remodel it than to if you have a well built new house, you're paying dearly for it because you're using a high quality builder that knows his worth. But if you're just doing like a normal type of new
Yeah.
build, it's sketchy.
Hey, this is a $2 million house, huh?
Yeah, every
So
bit of
I
it.
heard something recently and I went, oh, that'll sell fast. Someone put a $2.5 million house on the market. I think it was, yeah, I think it was in Carmel. And I go, boy, that ought to sell fast. And the guy looked at me and goes, no, it won't. And I go, what do you mean? I don't know if Kelly's heard this or seen this, but the people who spend 2.5 million on a house want to build their own. They're
Yep.
their spec.
Yep. It's a problem. When you go past the 1.5 million,
Yeah.
people are used to getting what they want. And it's rare that they would find somebody else's 1.5 that they wanted. And the only reason why I think they sell is because they don't want to wait the 2+ years to build one. That's the only reason why. And then also, those are the hardest deals to close because both sides have an ego and both sides are used to getting what they want. And
Uh,
sometimes it can be the most simple thing will make a deal fall through. That
did I
somebody
did
will
I
say, I want you to
did
take
we
care of
talk
that.
did we
Go
talk
ahead.
about it on the podcast or did I
I
talk about it with
don't,
somebody last weekend?
I don't think so. I don't think
Wow.
so. Kelly
Yeah,
had a
man.
deal fall through, a $2 million deal about 2 months ago because, the whole reason was because the builder wanted something and the homeowner was like, no. And then it was just a shooting match of who was the more powerful person. And they both walked away from it. And it was over something so silly. It was like either one of them could have done and they just couldn't come to agreement and they walked away because of it.
That's
But
crazy.
like first time home buyers and normal home buyers, they're willing to give and take. But when you get up to the higher end, there's a lot less of being willing to
Oh,
back off. And it's a harder deal to close. And
wow.
yeah, but
Huh.
it's crazy because it used to be a house that's a million now, $2 million house is what $1 million house was not very long ago.
I
It's
know.
like when I say 2 million, it's not like it's a castle. It's just
Nope.
a decent size,
Yeah.
larger house. It's not.
Yeah. My buddy bought in 2019, 2018. No, 20. Oh, it was the pandemic. It was 2020. He was looking at a house and he couldn't go to see it. So he had his daughter walk it. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona. He moved from South Carolina and they bought it in the spring of 2020. And he got on the phone with the guy who was selling it, and he goes, "Okay, this guy's got his stuff together, whatever." Bought it for like 950,000 or something like that, in a really beautiful neighborhood. It's all about timing. I think it was just appraised at like 3.2.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's timing for sure. That's
Yeah,
that was the time to buy when
yeah,
yeah,
because
those
everybody,
millions are a lot more now. Yeah,
yep, big time. And I was like, "You only paid like 930 or 950 for this?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I think because of this pandemic, everything's gonna soar again." And boy, did it ever, huh?
it did. It did. And now that twos are so much more common than they used
Yeah,
to be around here. But
yeah, it's crazy. It's
it's
great. It's a beautiful. It's. I think it's the neighborhood. It's a beautiful home, beautiful area. But and it's a beautiful home, and they've done a lot to it. But I'm just like, I wouldn't pay that.
yeah. Most houses, they say most houses over 1.5 million are cash. I think that's a
Yeah.
fun fact. And also most houses over 1.5 million, that's not their only house. I found that interesting.
Okay, I got a quick one for you. Uh, I've been thinking about this since you said it. You got two big jobs. You got one day in between to reset.
Hmm.
When you and Cam are cranking on these jobs, trying to get them out so you guys can go and play a little, what happens? Because I know you got a few rentals. What happens if something goes up, belly up, or you have a problem? One of your uh, tenants says, "Hey, something's happened." What happens?
So, well, normally our rentals are between the spot where we work a lot to the spot we get home. So sometimes I can just swing by either in the morning or after our job, which I'm not a big fan of, but it just makes sense sometimes to do it. Or I do it on the off day, like a day to day between the two. But sometimes I just can't. And like we had a plumbing issue yesterday, a sink leaking in the homeowner. He said he couldn't tell where it was coming from, but he did have a leak, and he put a pot underneath it until we could figure out. And I'm thinking, if you put the pot there, can't you see where the leak is? Like, what? But
Yeah.
he said he couldn't figure out where it was. So Kelly was like, "Do you just want me to call a plumber?" And I was like, "Yes, go ahead," because it was going to be a tight day yesterday. So the guy goes out, the plumber goes out, and he calls her, and he said it was in the faucet, and he was able to fix it, but it was just a short term. It was going to need to be replaced, and that he could replace the faucet for $5.99. And Kelly
What?
called it.
What?
She
Wait a
said
minute. Wait. Wait.
$599. And he charged us 50 for fix, which I think is low for the trip charge of fixing
Yeah.
the drip temporarily. He charges 50, which is awesome. But it was gonna be $5.99. Kelly's like, no, thanks. My husband can change it out. So sometimes I try to offload it and it still comes right back to me like a boomerang, because I just can't imagine paying $5.99 for a to put in a faucet in a kitchen sink. That's not that hard. It's just a matter of, gosh, a couple of wrench turns and shut the water thing off. It's so easy. So I was blown away by that. $5.99. I mean, and that he would have a
Wow.
max. He would not be there for more than an hour doing that, including unboxing the sink. So I have to do
Is that?
that.
Did you call your brother-in-law see if that's a going rate?
Sometimes. So my brother-in-law operates like 30, 40 minutes outside of Lexington, and he's so
Yeah.
busy he doesn't ever come to Lexington. But I regularly share amounts with him, and sometimes he's
Yeah.
blown away. He's blown away. When he worked in Cincinnati for a while for a plumbing company, like a big outfit, and he talks about all the time that he couldn't believe what they charged for things after growing up with his dad being a plumber and what they charged.
Yeah.
And I remember it was water heater replacements. He was like, I cannot believe what they charge, and people pay it. So he still doesn't charge those kind of rates. But yeah, that's on my list to share with him what we were told to change that out.
Wow.
So that'll be something that I'll be doing on Friday or Monday before our Splinter Con. I'll be taking care of that. He gave us a temporary fix, but that's a pretty common thing. I'd say we have like one or two things a week we have to take care of on the
Okay.
rentals.
So here's one for you, Marianne. We got to replace our back door. Everything's cool, but we want a new back door. We get some air leaks. I've done some patching and some re-weather stripping everything. I know how to replace a door. And the screen door we're keeping. I installed that. That's easy. That's easy stuff, right? But I just don't want to go through it. So we've gone through the process. We ordered a door, and I it's expensive. I know because we wanted the full window, top to
Mhm.
bottom, with the Muttons and Millions. Split it up so the dog can look outside.
Oh, important. Yes.
Very important. No, I didn't want the interior screen thing, because I'll
It'll
install that.
break.
Yeah, it's so. I'm thinking about it, and I go, "Oh, okay." And Mary goes, "You know your numbers." I go, "Yeah, it's gonna be about $1,200." She goes, "Yep, you were right." Okay, so she goes, "We're gonna have somebody come out and measure it, and I go, make sure it's the top guy." She goes, "Oh yeah, 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 so and so at work said, yep, yep." And this guy at Lowe's, wicked cool. He knows people I know. And she goes, "Okay, he came, measured everything out, really nice guy. Him and then another guy got to come and install it." I go, "Yeah." So Ronnie, how much do you think to install that back door?
Just to
Oh,
install it, not the
and
door.
they're gonna put brick mold out front, so I can do they're gonna bump it out on the front. Okay, so
Hmm.
I can put another screen door out there,
Okay.
and they're gonna reinstall my screen door for me on the back door.
Hmm. I I've heard recently that the 1 to 1.5 times the cost of the door is like the going rate for installing it. That's what some door places use just to give out quotes without even seeing it. So I would think it would be more than installing a kitchen faucet.
Yeah.
I would
So
say 750 maybe.
bingo, I said to Marianne, 800 or 1,000. He said $900, and he goes, "I'm gonna wow you with that, but it's
Hmm.
not gonna be that much." He goes, "It
Hmm.
may come in at 6 or 7."
Okay, good. Yeah, that sounds good. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
So
I
I said, "Marianne, go for it.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
We'll have it for the winter. I don't really have the time. I'm on
Hmm.
the road every weekend until October 18th."
Right, right. Yeah, I love it when we can. Like we put a 6 foot. We like to put 6 foot privacy fences up when we have some on the corners. We like corner properties, and we put those up so people can utilize their backyards better, and they can even it has a driving, or they can even have something parked back there if they had a boat or something. And
Hmm.
I don't mind paying fence companies to do that all day long, because even though we could do that, we
Yep.
would take us 2 or 3 days to put up, a fence, and they do it reasonable cost, and we don't mind paying for that kind of thing. But it just seems like a lot. It just makes sense for me to do it. But oh, well, speaking of that, we had a house that she told us she had some soft deck boards, and I went around to look at it. That one's in our town, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, I've just got to get to it. When can I get to it?" And then when I went to the lake, about 2 weeks ago, Kelly was like, "Well, Cameron can do it," and it was a perfect thing for him. I just told him, I was like, "Go back there, look, get your little list, and go up, pick up your materials." And he he did it all and didn't even take a picture of it or anything. I forgot he even did it. And she called us and she's like, "Thank you so much. The deck's wonderful. He did an awesome job." And I was like, I asked him later, I was like, "Did you take a picture of it?" He goes, "No." I was like, "You didn't even tell me." He's just, that's the way he is. He just doesn't even bother. But she said he did an amazing job. And he said that he didn't realize that I didn't have the Capex in the van. So he used the HKC saw for cutting all the cuts. And he said it worked out perfectly. And I just love that he's able to work on the rentals now too. That's awesome. So he's
That
kind of like
is
a,
so great to
yeah.
hear. Okay,
And yeah,
go
that makes
ahead.
a difference. That makes a difference that he's like a resident handyman that can just take care of it
Yes.
and it's still in house. And he
Yes.
likes it too because he's able to do it without, you know, he likes that he's able to do that kind of work on his own.
He's
So it works
independent,
out.
man. He's
And we
independent.
and we pay him like we would pay somebody else, and he
Hmm.
gets the money. So it's great.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I've been thinking about this. I was talking to somebody this past weekend, and we were talking about our passions. Of course, my passions: woodworking, festool, and teaching. Right? He goes, "You get paid every 2 weeks." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I get paid every 6 months of something I do today."
Mm.
He goes, "I love what I do, but it's the back end that's the drudgery." And I thought
Hmm.
about it. I went, "Oh my God." So, everybody out there listening right now, you got a kid and you're forcing them to go to college to be a professional, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not lecturing, but we're throwing some prices out there. The kids, your daughters, your sons can make an exceptional living in the
Hmm.
trades.
Yep.
You should allow them to
Yes.
explore that as well.
Yes.
Because I am so adamant on this when I'm hearing pricing and stuff. And I was like, and then they don't have to wait to get paid by
Hmm.
an insurance company.
Yeah, you could think about
That's
if you installed a door a day as a 20-year-old,
hello. Hello.
that's good money. You could do two a day if you were a go-getter, do one
Yep.
before lunch and one after.
Yep.
And it Cameron's doing a lot of electrical work for people like home, like changing out light fixtures and fans. People will pay for that. They don't want to do it themselves, and you can charge a reasonable amount of money for that, and you can
Mm-hmm.
build from that. If you're into that, go in and become an electrician. And it's just, gosh, there's so much money to be made in the trades. There always has
HVAC.
been. There always has
HVAC
been.
service.
Yeah, that's huge too. There's always been money in the trades, but I think it's at a whole new level because there's a shortage now, and
Mm-hmm.
people are able to charge now what they're worth. I think
Mm-hmm.
when I first started doing it, people kind of saw it as second rate work and they would take advantage of not paying what they should. But I feel like now there's more pay of what people are worth
Oh
because there's
boy.
more competition. Now everybody's willing to pay it, but everybody's not your customer, you know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I just had while I jumped on he had left. Today I had a gentleman, an emphasis gentleman, a young guy in here, and it's there's only one HVAC company I'll use. They're pretty daggone big here in Indianapolis. I mean massive. They're called Airtron. But they must do something, some sort of training of proper etiquette,
Hmm.
because every person I've had probably a half a dozen. They're my yearly service, twice a year, twice biannual service. I'm stuttering, but every one of them is ultra polite,
That's
always
good.
smiling, positive attitude, not like, oh, this sucks,
Right.
And I'm like, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
that is a direct result of good ownership and leadership.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe they do like a politeness training or something like that. Because guess what? I'm talking about them. That's
Yeah.
Airtron in Indianapolis. Use them, and we think it's inexpensive. I think we pay for two visits every year $79 or something like that.
Yeah,
79,
that's not bad.
$89. Fantastic.
That's one that we have to pay for every because I don't know very much about HVAC at all. And
Yeah.
it pretty much a lot of times I don't even go. When they call, it's like I don't know what to do with that. And we just send them out. And we have found that if we use the same company, they work with us better than just calling
Yep.
randoms. They'll fit you in when they know you have multiple properties. They work with us and they also like help us out price wise. But it's good to have a good HVAC company, especially when you find yourself in trouble.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
preventive maintenance for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had a few hiccups early on, and they fixed it. And I don't know if I ever talked about it. I probably did early on in the podcast, early on. It was a horrible experience in the beginning, but they came to bat. And ever since, wow, customer service plus, plus, plus. And,
That's awesome.
ours is preventative. They just check
Hmm.
everything, make sure everything's ready for the winter. They come in the spring, make sure everything's ready for the summer, you know?
Hmm. What's
And
funny? Just like an HVAC and veterinarian are two things that you need to have them established because when you need them, they'll almost be like, "Do we know you?" If they don't, you're in trouble.
yes,
like, like when everything that's ever happened to our dog that we need to take him in, like, what's wrong with it? Whatever. Is he currently a patient here? Okay, then bring him in. It's like it's important that you have a vet established. It's also important that you have HVAC because if you never talked to him before, they're not going to come out when all their existing customers are without heat and it's cold or hot, outside. They're going to go to their customers first, and you're on the bottom of the list for sure.
yep. Oh, don't we know? We
Yeah.
had three dogs at one time. And we've always used Dr. Sherry at Zionsville Veterinary Clinic. And don't get me started on that. I also they also really assisted us with the passing of our first two dogs, and
Oh,
the way they handled everything, I will recommend them forever to and all our friends go there now and they go yeah perfect. They're just so, how do you say it, so aware that our dogs are part of our family,
right.
and
We
boy,
had,
they own a lot of my money.
yeah. When Tommy the shop cat, I think it was an owl, we think, that grabbed him at night and grabbed him by his hind quarter and it split his whole side open.
Oh,
And I saw it. It was Friday, the end of the day on Friday, and we called because we his skin was just wide open, looked like a chicken breast on his side thigh. You could just see it.
wow.
And we called, and they were like, "Well, we're getting ready to close." Well, they asked, is he a patient?" And I said, "Yeah, it's Tommy Fulton. Everybody knows who that is. He's famous." No, no, no. They were like, "Well, bring him in." They stayed open to take care of
See?
it, and so and they, I told Kelly, wouldn't have done that if we hadn't already had an established relationship with them. There's no
Yep.
way we would have just been in trouble. So
Yep.
that's important to have those
Is he
established
okay?
contact. Yeah, they sewed him up, kept him overnight. Whole total entire bill was $400. I told Kelly, I
What?
said, if I ever get hurt, I'm going to the vet.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna drive to Lexington. I'm
that
Georgetown.
was that was overnight stay, anesthesia, sewing him up, like a X-ray type thing, all this stuff, and I was like, $400, wow, and pain medicine. I was like, gosh, that's not human pricing for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's funny. Three customers back, we were working and at the house, and she had two dogs. She was talking about that she just got back from the vet, and the vet was talking about a heart murmur and wanted to put him on medication. And she was like, "My husband came home," and she's like, "He got out his stethoscope and listened. He's like, he doesn't need to be on medication." You don't think about, her husband's a cardiologist, so
Oh,
it's funny. I never thought about before that a human cardiologist would just get out and listen to their own dog and be like, "No, he's fine. I hear a little bit of a murmur, but it's no big deal." So
that
she
is
said
so
that
cool.
her husband didn't agree with the vet and was like, "No, he's fine." Thought that was kind of interesting.
That is so cool. But it's so
Yeah.
cool. They're a
Yeah. You don't think
vet.
about,
It's kind of like
yeah.
not a sideline. They have to know about that heart murmurs, but this guy's the pro.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's kind of what he does. So it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
it's a heart. It's a normal heart, whatever.
It's a heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do
I
they
love
say?
it.
The closest to a human heart is a pig heart, right?
I've heard that before. That's why they dissect them, isn't it? That's
Yep.
why they use them
And
in.
they've actually had some moderate success transplanting a pig heart in a human.
Gosh,
But
that's
I
crazy.
think they just had one that lasted a little bit longer. That's crazy, huh?
That is crazy. I have a friend who his niece had a heart transplant when she was like 3 or 4, and that was 8, 9 years ago. It's crazy.
Mm.
She had a heart, and it's still, she's fine.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hmm.
I know we're off on a tangent. We're talking about vets and medical, but I'm going to tell you something. I heard something on Rogan today. A guy named Gary Nolan or something like that. And this guy is top of his line, uh, immunologist. I think that's it. And he's talking about cancer and contracts of cancer, whatever. I'm. You have to listen to what he said, and it was. I know everybody rags on me. I say mind-boggling, but their new genius in the lab is AI. And what would have taken like 5 or 6 um, graduate student doctorates, whatever, and a couple of doctors, and this and this and this, to do what they give them all this stuff to set up parameters to use AI. And it would have taken probably 3, 4, 5 months, takes them 3 hours.
Wow.
It gets even
Wow.
better. He goes, what this does is, and this is just basic science. You have a hypothesis. You have to find how to test for it to see. And this is all to eliminate cancer. and any kind of
Wow.
cancer. And each cancer is different. And he said, he goes, it gives us all these hypotheses to test with all the tests. He goes, you think that might speed things up? So
Yeah.
I think about this all the time, and everybody should be. How is this world going to change in the next 5 years? Some of I
Yeah.
see it hopefully as being good to eradicate disease and help the world
Hmm.
medically, um, and hopefully maybe eliminate some of this war crap going on. But I
Yeah.
tell you what, and if everybody's listening, hear me out. Put your kids in the trades.
Yeah. Because they're not going to be replaced with AI for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we don't know that yet, but
Well,
I
it's,
would say they have a
yeah.
good chance of making sure that things keep running in people's homes
Right.
and their
Right.
cars keep running and stuff like that. So it's just sometimes it's just like I'm driving and I'm listening to this. I'm like, oh wow,
You know,
I didn't think of that. I didn't know that. You know,
I think another thing for anybody who's interested in that kind of thing, there's something about going, if you were going out every day and you were fixing people's air, and you were making their house comfortable when you left every day, you have such a sense of accomplishment versus like I've been in the corporate world before where I would go for 2 months and people would ask you what you do and you tell them like when you're out in the back of your mind, you're going, really? I kind of really don't do anything. I just look busy and my projects are on to get canceled. I don't really accomplish anything for like 3 months. I mean, that's what happens when you're in corporate world. You're like, I did do
mm-hmm.
diversity
Oh,
training the other day, and I got that done, and I got my, but you don't feel the sense of accomplishment you do when you're doing something in the trades. You get to see when you were done, you walk away, you're like, we did that today. Now we're going on to another house. We did this. And you feel a sense of accomplishment you don't feel when you go into some of the trade, not trade, some of the professions that you would go to that used to be the preferred professions, you know, that
correct.
that's, I think that's another thing. It's not fulfilling sometimes.
Y-
Um, so it
Yeah.
now the pay has equaled to where it's the pay's good as well. So it's like there's a lot of reasons to
Yes.
look at it. And somebody who has personable skills like you were talking about, you can double down even more because you're turning down work. You can choose, pick and choose as much as you want to do. So
You know,
it's never been better time.
it's sometimes waking up in the morning, driving into work, getting in front of a camera, day after day, week after week after week. You wonder, I wonder if this is making a difference, And you kind of get in that routine, and then all of a sudden, holy macanoli, you go out on the road
That's
and you meet
important for that. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I stress that. And we're
Right.
having people in the marketing department doing ride-alongs with our sales managers, and they hear a little of what I tell them, but they see it in a different aspect, a different lens.
Yeah.
And it has been one of the coolest things we've done at Festool in the marketing department this year.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's good for them to see because if not, you never see it. You don't
yeah.
you don't see what you're doing. I remember when I was working at Toyota and I was in the offices when I was working out in one of the car plant, sometimes I would just walk out to where they were building the cars to remind myself that I even worked at a car company because I was working on HR payroll systems. I was working on this kind of implementation and that. I don't even, it's like we could be making paper clips for all I care. It was
Yeah.
had nothing to do with it. And I would walk out there and I would be so interested in that. That
Yeah.
was more towards what I was interested in than where I had
Yeah.
fallen into. But it's good for you to go out and for people to tell you how, just like I was saying earlier about how important those videos are, because you don't get to see that immediately, like someone who is going out and installing something on a house. It's more of a long-term payback.
So I see how hard people work at Festool. It's not, I couldn't do it with what they do, you know, um, type up a bunch of stuff and do this. I'm talking about the marketing department, do graphics or work on campaigns, take pictures. It's a lot of work. And I see how hard they work, whether they're there or at home. Okay. And because we got a great marketing department, hands down. Uh, but it's funny when they go out and they show pictures of these dealers, and Rick looks up and sees the banner. He goes, "Sedge, when did we run that slogan?" I go, 2007. They still have the old banners
Oh
up.
yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
and Rick can spot them a mile away. And I go, and I I think about a few people in the graphic design. I'm like, oh my God. And then somebody says, yeah, they had them. They had the new banners, but they were out back. And they had,
Mhm. That's funny.
but you want to know
Th-
something? That's something I never noticed. I noticed that the demo area is there, and if they're
Mhm.
running demos, because that was my lens, as a
Mhm.
trainer. But
Right.
it's so cool. I think it was a good program to do that this year.
Oh,
And it
that's
was
excellent. Yeah, that for sure. I
and
had. Go ahead.
and somebody I know, a bigwig, rode with one of our sales managers in this program, and she came back. I go, oh, there was a lot of windshield time. She goes, huh, and I go, could you do their job? She goes, no way. They work so hard and long hours and answer all those questions while they're driving. Our sales managers do one hell of a job.
Mhm.
They work their tails off, and I don't think everybody knows that. So that's what I like about this, because they get to stand in another person's shoes.
A perfect example just flashed in my mind. My first IT jobs was running the help desk for Lexmark, the printer company in 95, 97. And one of the people we supported internal employees. We were supporting marketing people on the road with laptops. Every time they called us, we were annoyed because I just think about this. We didn't know even what they did. Our
Exactly.
we thought all they did was call and annoyed us with problems. They can't dial in, they can't connect to Lotus Notes, they can't do their email. We were sitting there going, "What?" No one even told us. No one ever said, "Do you know what these people are doing?" These are
Yep.
sales and marketing people. These are the people that are going out to these corporations and selling the printers. I know that now, just knowing how companies are set up. But when I worked there, nobody ever told me. We were just people we supported, and they annoyed us when they called. Because if they didn't call, we could do whatever we wanted. We could play around on the computers. We could do whatever. But it's so important for people to understand, like you said, it would have been important for them. They could have let us go one day with a local one and just see
Yes.
what they do. And then we would have looked at it totally different. We need to get you online because you're important to the company. But some companies just don't take the time to do that. But it's
And
important.
it is so important. I Every chance I get, I'm down in repair, hanging out. I've worked in the warehouse so many times. If we have a big push, I'm out there picking and packing, and I just love it.
Yeah, that's
The
good.
one thing I hate doing, and everybody knows it because I'm really bad at it, is customer service on the phone.
I'm definitely burnt out on that one.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something, Ronnie. Our customer service is so phenomenal.
Oh, I
Our
know it is.
application support guys, they're phenomenal. I don't have that patience, that level of patience.
Yes. Oh,
And somebody's calling in, they have a problem, right?
right.
And daggone it, the way I hear people talk to people,
Oh, I
to
know.
our people, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, oh,
When I was doing that support job, we had 8 people. We had eight, and they thought when they were calling in, it was a team of like 300. They didn't know there was just eight of us sitting in the same room. So when we get off the phone, you'd be like, "Oh, that Bob Smith just called." They're like, "I got Bob Smith," and they're like, "Oh gosh, it's Bob." He had no idea that he was famous. I just made that name up, but you know. We had a list of about 10 of them. We were like, we'd see it come up on the phone and be like, who's taking it? It's like, I had him last time. And they would be rude, and they had no idea that they were famous in our office of being
Yeah.
either really hard to help or being rude, you know?
Yeah. Why do people think that that's a huge department?
Yeah,
I think
it's
we have
funny. I'm sure
five.
Festool's the same way. They think
Five.
that they're calling this massive call center, and it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, you learn really quickly who the people are.
And they got to handle all the emails as well.
Yes, yes.
And we call it the customer experience. And they,
Hmm.
God bless them. They're phenomenal. And guess what? I take my cigarette break with them, and I don't smoke cigarettes.
That's
I go
good.
ahead. There's two or three of them that smoke cigarettes, and
Uh-huh.
so and then they go take a break. Some of them don't smoke, and somebody goes out with, and I go sit out there with them and hang. They
I
go,
used to do
"You don't
that.
smoke." I don't care.
I used to
You're
do
my
that
friends,
Toyota. I was like, if you are allowed to do it, I am too. Just because I don't smoke doesn't mean I can't take the break. So I would
but
go
you
out there too.
but you get to know people.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of it's kind of like golf course. Like there's a lot that happens in smoke breaks. There's a lot of talking that goes on and a lot of
Yes,
information sharing goes on and during
it.
smoke breaks.
You understand what's going
Yeah.
on interdepartmentally, and
Yeah.
somebody will come up to me and go, "How do you know that?" I go, I was outside having a puff with so and so," and they start laughing. They go,
Hmm.
"You know everything that goes on in the building." No, I don't,
You just
because all of a sudden I am blindsided. I go, "What the hell happened? They left?" And they go,
hmm
"Oh, you didn't hear." And then I catch it after the fact, and that's what sucks, because sometimes you lose somebody who's really good when somebody should have just sat down and said, "Hey, let's have a little
right.
chat." It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it does, and it really sucks.
Yeah, it does. I had something happen yesterday. It was kind of cool that I personally thought was, I've been like, I've had Festool for 22 years or so, and no one even knew what it was, for a long time. And I stopped at a gas station yesterday and went in and got something to drink. And the guy at the register, I saw him look at my shirt because I had a little Festool logo on my t-shirt on the right. And he looked at it and he goes, "Are you a cabinet maker?" I was like, "Yeah, I build cabinets." He's like, "I really like Festool." He's like, "I keep debating." He goes, "I want to get the track saw, but he's like, I'm not sure if I use it enough or enough of a woodworker to get a track saw." And there was no one in the gas station. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I've heard that a lot. And I said, I'll tell you, it will make you a better woodworker if you do, and you will build more things if you get it. I highly, highly recommend you just bite the bullet and get it. And he was like, "Yeah, it's just a lot. I've been looking at it. I've been going back and forth." And I walked out there and I said, "I can't believe somebody working at a gas station talked to me about Festool because that would have not happened
You just made my day,
seven,
right?
7 or 8 years ago. That would have not
It you
happened."
just you made my day,
I
because
was,
for 18 and a half years I've been trying. Wait a minute. We have been trying. I've made it
mhm.
my mission to get that response that you got
Yeah.
from
And,
that person, to make it a brand recognized.
and
And
it
that T
did.
lock you had the T lock, right? And
Yeah,
that's
it
what
was the one that's got the little teal on the sleeve and
yep.
it has the one on
And
the front. Yeah.
yep. And I'm going to tell you something. That is a lot of hard work to get that brand recognition.
I
There's a
I was
difference
blown
between
away.
sales marketing and brand marketing, and
Yeah,
I've been involved with both.
that's the second time that happened. I was wearing the long sleeve one once, and a woman came up to me in a restaurant and she said, "Excuse me." She's like, "Where did you get that shirt?" And I told her, and she's like, "Because I work for Sherwin-Williams." And she's like, "Nobody knows about Festool except for people at Sherwin-Williams." Because she was talking about the drywall sander.
Mm.
And I was like, I said, "Actually, they make a lot of other tools too." And she was not aware. She had went through the Planex training and the dust collector. And she kind of thought that that was all that Festool was because I guess she worked in Sherwin-Williams, but I had to educate her that there was more to it. But that's the only other time I can think of that in public somebody said something. But I just love that the guy that worked in the gas station was like, he even said track saw, and it was cool because that would have not happened not very long ago. The awareness is there now.
It's so cool.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. So I've gotten to see the evolution of that. There was a time when people thought that they were cheap Chinese tools and they wouldn't even steal them if you put them out by the curb
And
because they didn't know.
we have a model in the early 2000s. It was, "What's Festool?" And then in about the early 20 teens, 2010s, 20 teens, we would hear, "Oh yeah, Festool. I think I've heard about them." And then
Yeah.
now it's in the 2020s. Oh, if they don't have any, they go, "Oh yeah, Festool. I've been sniffing around the brand. I don't have any." My favorite three-letter word is yet.
Right. Right.
You,
Right.
you know, and that is a huge effort by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. And when I say hundreds and hundreds of people, I'm not talking about marketing. I'm not just talking about sales or executive, or it's repair, it's logistics, all the warehouse people. They've worked their hearts
Mhm.
out. Everybody
Right.
who's involved, it's one big. system. I'll call it a system, but it's one big
Mm.
group of people working to make sure the brand is recognized. This podcast is not only brought to you by Mark Adams School of Woodworking, but also Festool. Build better to build better.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I tell you,
Oh my God.
I've been enjoying those syslocks with the new what is it, Sysorg 3, is that what they're called? The that Tyler Forge 3D makes a lot of compartments for them. I have those loaded up with all the like different size screws and things I need. I can bring four of those around to a back of a house, and I do not need to go back to my van. I have every possible, even fasteners I didn't even think I was going to need. We're pulling them out. All the different size tap cons, wood screws, and everything, and it saves so much time not going back and forth and grabbing it. I went to Madison's new house that she's living in on campus, and she had some things she wanted hung and some things. All I have to do is grab the one that I have is just fasteners, normal, like inside screw, like drywall screw that you hang
Hmm.
pictures with. The anchors, I just grab two of those. I don't have to go out one time back to my van. I have everything that I need. I love that. It's so handy.
Yeah.
It's a
People just
system.
don't people just don't understand that organization aspect. They're just used to going back and forth like, oh, I got a van, but it's back and forth to the van. Save the
Yeah.
steps,
I tell you,
you know?
it's easy to go. You have so much on your mind. You'll be walking. I'll go to the van sometimes and don't remember what I went there for. I have to
Oh,
stand there. I stand there and I go, okay, I've been working. I was thinking about what I was doing next, but then what did I come up here for?
hey,
And then I'll walk back down there and realize I have to turn around and go back again.
Ronnie, wait, 10, 12 years from now, it's gonna be bad, dude. I people look at me in Festool because you know where my office or my lumber rack that I sit on is, right? And I
Yeah.
go to the office or I'm going out to the warehouse. It's a little bit of a trek. People look at me, go, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Don't talk to me."
Yeah.
Because I get through the office to customer service and they go, "You okay?" I go, "Yeah, I got to go back to my desk so I can remember what I came here for." To the point, I'm not kidding you. I have a post-it thing where I write what I'm doing.
When you're
It's
thinking of
just,
trying to multitask, it's easy to you just forget the thing you were doing.
what was
That's
I doing? They catch me near the lobby. They go, "You okay?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah." What? They go, "What?" I go, somebody said hi. A few people said hi, and they go, "Yeah." I go, "Well, I forgot what I came here for."
it happens. I was thinking the only thing I had to go up to the van for, the only thing in a 3-day job was I started use this is a tip too. I used to use heavy duty like contractor bags for all of our like plastic, all the debris, the like little cutoffs and things, and we fill them as we go. I started using the contractor bags that are made out of like Tyvek material. They're
Hmm.
construction debris bags, and they're
Yeah.
they're more expensive than like black plastic contractor bags. But the thing that people don't realize is they're reusable. I reuse them all the time. I'll fill them up
Oh,
on the job site and then I'll just empty them out like in a trash can when I get back, like to into the dumpster or whatever,
yeah.
and you can reuse them. And they're great.
Do
You
they,
can get them at like Lowe's and different places.
are they puncture resistant?
Yes, that's the best part. They're made out of
Yeah.
a, the best thing to explain is I call it like a Tyvek material, but I've seen the bags before if you buy grass seed. It's what they put grass seed in. Those
Oh,
bags that are made
cool.
out of that white
Yep.
canvasy kind of that can't
Almost like
tear.
a plastic burlap.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect description. And
Yeah.
what's great about those is when you use the black ones, if you're putting any kind of like a board with nails in it, anything, they'll start getting ripped on you. Sometimes they'll fall apart on you. These don't do that. And my hang up with them at first was you buy like a 20 pack. They're a lot more than garbage bags, but you get to use them forever. The only time I throw them out is if I have like black asphalt sealant and everything that's going
Yep.
on there. I just go ahead and toss it because I don't want to deal with the mess. But for the most part, we reuse bags 15, 20 times over.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's they're still look like they're brand new. They're just so it's a good tip if you wanted like if you have like a dumpster at your shop just to get it back to the when you just dump it out, just turn it, dump it out, and you can reuse it. It's great. So that's the only thing that I had to go back to the van for in 3 days from what we that we didn't have in our little sustainer stack that we have.
So this next job coming up, it's going to be another 3 days.
No, I'm hoping about a day and a half is what I'm hoping for. It's about six fixed panels, screen panels, a door and a threshold, and two big panels on each side of a fireplace. And I'm pre-cutting all of the screen channel in the shop, and we'll be installing that in the screen tomorrow on the panels, and then I hope to do the door and whatever's left over the next day. And that's the big things that need to get done before SplinterCon. So I'm so excited to get that one wrapped up. We should hopefully be getting that one done on Thursday. And then I have to put in a kitchen faucet, as we were talking about earlier, in one of our rental houses. And I'll tell you what's bad is whenever it's a rental, Kelly's the contact. They don't even know my phone number. Once they give Kelly something to do, she does not let up. It's like the worst customer ever. She's like, when are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it before or after your job today? I'm like, neither. So it's like she's on me because she doesn't like people to wait even more than a day, which is good. It's good.
Yeah.
She's their advocate, and she makes sure that I make it over. But it's hard when you're doing jobs, that
No
are outside
kidding.
of it. But as we talked about earlier, getting Cameron more on board,
Yep.
ideally, I wouldn't mind just being the handyman for my rentals. It's the best job ever because they
Yep.
can't even, I'm doing work on my own house, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's
Yeah.
low pressure. You're not stressed out,
He's smart enough. You've groomed him all these years. He's gaining a lot more independence, like that job that he went out and did. And you're gonna step back, do the handyman thing, and you'll be there as another helper eventually.
Yes. And I'm
And you
looking
let
forward
him
to
take
that.
the lead, and it'll be perfect. You know, I
Right.
just see that evolving.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd like for him to take the pressure, the stress part off.
Yes.
There's someone carries the stress, and it's usually the owner or the main person. And I'm envious of the helpers that get to show up and just, what do you want me to do? And they don't have any kind of stress on
Yes.
their brain at all.
Yep.
That's sometimes I want to be that person.
But that friction, that stress, that friction, the more friction you have, the more risk you take, the better challenged he'll come out a
True,
diamond.
true, 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 true. So
You
yeah, it's
know, I
it's
mean,
it's
that's the beauty of it. You have to have that. I always got a kick out of, oh, you guys are making a ton of money. You have no idea what we, Mikey and myself, have to do to bang out this job
hmm
week after week after week. You have no idea. Don't give me that. So that's what happens in Fort Lauderdale. You hire somebody, to help, and they think, oh, and they come in the shop for. That's why at one point I said, Mikey, I can't deal with this anymore. They went out and opened their own shops. Guess what happens? They fail because they don't know the business end of it.
And there's
You
so
know,
much overhead. The overhead adds up so quickly.
they think it's 9 to 5.
Yeah, it adds up so quickly. Worker comp, insurance, all those things.
Everything, licensing, everything.
Taxes is one of the highest checks I write out. My company checks is to taxes.
Yep. And also
Taxes on
all the
everything.
all the beer.
Yeah. Yeah, we got splitter beer. Yeah, it is surprising. When I look at my year end to date, I'm always shocked at how much we pay for insurance, all the types of insurance and taxes. And when I say taxes, like local government, this tax, that tax, this tax, all the different kinds of taxes and insurance is huge. And that's something that somebody who works for you and looking at the numbers are going, he's making a killing. They don't realize how much between those two things alone take from a business. And like you said, those people that go out and start, they don't realize that and they quickly fail because they don't account for all that overhead.
Cabinet shops open and close every day.
Yeah, because when they've got a massive equipment cost that they take
Uh-huh.
on top of that.
And they don't have a clue. We go, hey, God bless you. God bless
Yeah,
you. See ya.
yeah, yeah. Because I
Yep.
mean, I would. What would you estimate if you were opening a cabinet shop? Would you estimate, for example, like maybe 200,000 minimum in equipment cost
Easy.
at least,
Easy. A
and then
startup
plus
cost.
your
Easy. You got equipment. You got all your licensing. You got, oh God.
space, your
Oh my
space.
God. Trailers and vans.
Yeah.
If hopefully people calculate that space, what's your lease cost per square foot, where do you want to establish yourself? Because there's
Yeah.
certain areas, certain counties that is, oh my God, it's double, triple. Closer
Hmm.
in Fort Lauderdale, closer to the more affluent neighborhoods, you're paying up to ooh
Oh, I
per
bet.
lease foot, square foot per lease. And then and the other thing too is if you're paying less per square foot lease, it's in a questionable neighborhood
Right.
for theft.
True.
There's so many. Okay, now lumber's not cheap. You got to build that up, build that storage up. People just think of machines and you got to think of office. You know,
Hmm.
do you run it? Yeah, you have a home. You can do stuff at home, but you should have an office at the shop.
Hmm.
There's so much for startup.
Yeah, there is. Especially like you said, some places are harder than others. It seems like to me, places like Fort Lauderdale, a lot of people come from an hour away because it's the only way they can afford to do it. It's not like
I
you're
was
going to buy.
15. I was
Were you
15 miles away.
really? Where were
Yep.
you? Where were you in relation to
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale?
I lived west of the airport,
Hmm.
directly west of the airport. I was in the flight path, but I was about 8 miles west,
Okay, that's
but
almost
not
like how far away are
exactly the
the
flight path.
Everglades?
The flight path, you know where 595 is?
Uh-huh.
I was just south of 595 in a place called Davie, Florida, over
Oh
by
yeah,
Nova Southeastern
I've
University
seen
by the
Davy.
road. I live right behind the rodeo arena on Orange
Okay.
Drive, and it was cool because Orange Drive is kind of sealed off by the two main thoroughfares, University, where I was on Orange University, um, and Davie Road. And what was cool is the C10, which drained Weston into the ocean, that ran on the front of my neighborhood. So it was kind of a private area. And I lived
Ah,
in townhomes of Orange Drive there for many years. And, I worked down by the beach in Dania, but it was still by the airport, but south of the airport, place called it was unincorporated Broward County. But
okay.
if people know the area, I was on Sterling and
That I
uh,
think.
and Ravenswood, and that industrial park, which were all
Mm,
small 1,800, 2,000, 3,000 square foot shops, whatever you wanted to buy out, and it was old,
uh,
and it was
I
old.
think the biggest challenge of Fort Lauderdale is just in between the Everglades and the ocean, and you only have so much left to right, east to west. It's like a strip of land, and you only can go north or south, and it's nothing. There's not cheap stuff north or south either. So it's like it's a very interesting place. It's kind of
It was
landlocked in a way.
it was really cool because there was this lady who I was setting up on Friday. Her name was Judy, and she came and says, "I own a couple pieces of festival. I have a sander and a duster." I go. She goes, "Oh, you sound like you have a New York accent." Yeah, I know Maine, but I lived in Fort Lauderdale for 25 years. She goes, "Where?" And I went, "Davy." She goes, "I live in Weston." And I went, "No kid." So she said a couple of things, and I went, "Oh my God, I haven't heard it called that in years." She was a partier. And there was this
Hmm.
place that was in the middle. It was almost in the Everglades, but now it's all beautiful homes. It's in Hollywood. And they had this covered building where all these concerts were. It was a dirt floor. It was basically a rodeo arena. And every top name played there. It was one road in, one road out. It was called the Hollywood Sportatorium. But everybody knew it. And she said it. She goes, we used to party at the Hollywood Snortatorium. Oh my God.
I've been to
It,
Hollywood several times.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! That's
Hmm.
Jennifer. My daughter lives in Hollywood,
Okay.
in the old section down toward the
Okay.
beach, east of US One, west of US One. So it was really cool to hear her say that. So every once in a while, she would come from her class, and we'd talk about old Fort Lauderdale. It was really cool. I was like, so I
Yeah.
knew she was a very local when she mentioned Hollywood Snortatorium. It was funny as hell. And
I
Travis just looked at me and went, huh? And I go, dude, I saw Bob Seger there, man. It was awesome.
I love to just watch the boats come in that canal about Hollywood where those yachts are coming through and the bridges are
Yep.
raising up. It's so cool. All the boats coming. That's a
Dude,
cool
dude,
place.
dude, I know that area like the back of my hand.
That's
I,
cool.
I lived on Hollywood Beach. I lived on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Oh my God.
Um,
What memories I have from that place. It and then guess what? Everybody found out how cool it was and it got overcrowded. Because exactly like
yeah,
you said, it, it, you only have so much you can expand. You have the
right,
Everglades and you have the ocean.
right,
It's that
right.
tract of land, and guess what? It's maximized already.
Yep, yep. That Margaritaville resort is massive. That's right by there. It's sits right in the middle of Hollywood, and it's made up prices go up everywhere. But it's a
Big time.
it's a cool place to go in the dead of the winter because it's always warm there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love getting off the plane to smell the mold, mildew,
It's pretty much what it smells like.
and mold, mildew, and humidity.
Yep.
I told you last time, I don't know if I mentioned it, I spent hours in the pool. It was so
Yeah.
nice. I felt we stayed at Jen's house. I felt like I was at a spa.
You're right. You always smell that moldy smell because all the air
Oh,
conditioners are running and their condensation is
oh.
like, yeah, that's the
And
especially this summer.
you go running first thing in the morning, which I did every day, and you look at it is a pressure washer contractor's dream because the mold on the
Mhm.
sidewalks, you slip on it sometimes. It's gross.
Yeah, there's a reason why people are there for winter and they leave in the summer. That's the reason why a lot of people,
Oh.
because it's ideal in the December, January months and October, I guess. But I guess it's still
But
hot in October. But yeah,
but here's something I think about all the time. I've had three homes in my life. I grew up in Maine. I have home, I call Fort Lauderdale home. I call Maine home. And of course, I call Indiana home. I love it, man.
you,
I've lived in
you've
some
lived
cool
in
places.
you've lived in all three extremes. You lived Maine north, far north. You've lived far south, and you live in the middle. It's funny.
Yeah,
You've been in every
it's
extreme.
but it's cool. It's really cool. Hey,
Yeah.
uh, Ronnie, I just looked at the time, dude.
Are we there?
Yep.
We
Hey,
are there.
we got to do a little. And I pulled this up because we're getting all our stuff ready for SplinterCon. So I'm gonna call out. I think I'm gonna look at our text today because we're getting things ready. And I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I called out Grit Automation as our premier sponsor.
Yes.
Thank you, Grit. And I got to call out for our gold sponsors. You know what I'm looking at?
Yes.
The
The
sign.
the yes. Yeah, that's what I
So
figured they were saying that. Yeah.
yeah. So hey, okay. So our gold sponsors are Celiche, KM, Cast Moses Tools, Leather by Dragonfly, Forge 3D, and Rubio Monaco. And you know what? I'll call out silver sponsors. We have TSO, Grex, and Eagle Woodworking. But also, I just want to say, guys, we have so many people donating tools. They're not sponsors. Of course, sponsors, but tools for the giveaway, accessories, consumables, gift cards. So it's going to be a fantastic, fun weekend. And we're not, yeah, and I think we're not doing it all at once. We're going to do it in segments, right? Giveaways,
Right. Right.
so we can
Right.
have some fun and not sit there. What is it? Last year was 3.5 hours we
That's
gave
what
away.
I yes, and I did not realize it was that long because I was up in the front too. But gosh, that's a lot to give away, 3.5 hours. So we're gonna break it up into little sessions to make it not be so long.
Hey, Ronnie, I think you estimated their overall price of the giveaway was how much last year?
It was at least 1.6 million.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
at
so.
least. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. If
it
not
was amazing.
gigawatts.
Where do you come up with this crap? I have no idea.
No,
You
that
know,
it's a lot.
sometimes I don't. I I just lose time, and I can't believe an hour and a half just like went by.
I know. I can't believe it's been a year since the last SplinterCon already.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I'm
I can't. I,
excited.
I can't believe it's been a year since I haven't had Jevon's smoked brisket.
There, you're right. It's been a year.
It's
It's
been a year.
it's coming up quick. So we'll record another one before that.
Yep.
We'll have one more, and then we'll be seeing everybody soon. I've been seeing a lot of people's travel plans on Discord. Been seeing a lot going on with that, and I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a good time.
For sure.
And we'll have
Okay.
Jason on here next next episode. I'm not sure if we talked about it. We talked about it before we started recording, but Jason's has a full plate this week. So I think his
Oh
wife's
yeah.
out of town. He's got the boys. So we'll be looking forward to having him back on Monday.
I'll say it right now. God bless Jason Ben. Though that max is 100 miles an hour,
Really.
24 hours. He is so freaking tough.
He's got his hands
Man,
full.
man. I think someday he could actually be an MMA star.
Oh, really? That'd be
No,
awesome.
he's a tank. He's cool.
That's awesome.
Yep, for sure. No
That's
fear.
fun.
All right, everybody. Is that a
All right.
wrap?
I guess it is. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.